All right, good evening. We are sponsored for the week by Yishai and Rebecca Schwartz, Le'ili Nishmas, Rebecca's grandfather, Mr. Eliyahu ben Yaakov Vrivka, whose yortzeit was on the 21st of Shvat, and may his neshama have an aliyah. We are continuing on fun stuff. Let's talk more about the menorah. Amar Shmuel Mishmei de Saba, which is 12 lines down from where they get wide on Kaf Ches Amud Beis. Amar Shmuel Mishmei de Saba. Shmuel said in the name of a certain elder, his name is not mentioned, Gova Shel Menorah, the height of the menorah is Shmona Sar Tfachim, is 18 Tfachim.
Why didn't he mention?
That's a good question. It just says an elder. That's all they call him. He's called an elder. Now, these are identical. I'm going to put this over here for a second. Right? These are identical, right? I think that there's an art scroll diagram as well, right? They don't put the numbers on the side here, but we work our way up here, okay?
Yeah.
And
we have one here.
Haraglayim, we'll start from the bottom. Haraglayim v'haperach shosh tfachim. On the ground there was a base, and then there was a flower. So it's 3 tfachim to get to there, to get to this flower. Then utfachayim chalak. Then it's nothing for 2 tfachim, and then utefach shebo gevia v'kaftor v'ferach. Then there's 1 tefach. In this 1 tefach, there is a cup, a flower, and a ball. And the way that they drew them here, this is interesting how they did it. They put the cup with the ball inside and the flower poking out the top. Might be that way. It might also be that all 3 poked out from different sides, right? The flower coming from this side, the ball that way, the ball in the middle, the cup around. But questionable exactly how all 3 came in. If you take a look at, for example, in this diagram that I have in mind, right? That has them pointed out on 3 different directions. But somehow all 3 of these decorations, each one normally a tefach in size, is taking up 1 tefach. So that's where we're up to over here. So we're now up to this section. Okay, right there. Okay, I'm going to try to hold it in front here with my car not turning pages on itself. Let's turn the bookmark over here, right? Okay. And then tfachayim chalak, 2 more tfachim of nothing. Then tefach kaftor, then you have a tefach where there's a ball, and ushnei kanim yotzim mimenu, and 2 branches came out from the sides of that ball, right? As you can see. And then echad elach, ve'echad elach, 1 on one side, 1 on the other side. So they're coming out on each opposite side. Ve'olin keneged gova shel menorah. And each of those branches would go all the way up to the top of the menorah, equal to the height of the menorah. Even though, obviously, this branch would be longer than if the straight one, they end at the same height. Same thing if it went rounded. Okay? Then you get tefach chalak, you get a tefach that's nothing. And then you get tefach kaftor, you get another ball. Ushnei kanim yotzim mimenu, with 2 branches coming out from it. Echad elach ve'echad elach, 1 on each side. V'nimshachin ve'olin keneged gova shel menorah, and those branches go all the way up to the top of the menorah. Then you have tefach chalak. Then you get another empty tefach. And then you get kaftor ushnei kanim yotzim mimenu. You get another ball with 2 branches coming out from it. Echad elach ve'echad elach, 1 on each side. V'nimshachin ve'olin keneged gova shel menorah, and it goes up all the way to the top of the menorah. Utfachayim chalak. Then you get 2 tfachim blank, and then you get nishtai rusham shlosh tfachim. You have 3 tfachim left at the top. Right here it even says 3 hambruts, 3 tfachim at the top. In this 3 tfachim, you had shlosha gviin, 3 cups, the kaftor, a ball, and vaferach, and a flower. That's what was there. So now, that's what this comes out with. So exactly how they were, whether the cups, the way that they draw the diagram here, the 3 cups are one inside the other with the ball inside of it, right, and the flower, and then the container on the top. It could be, right. It's not really so necessarily so clear. It could be that the 3 cups go in different directions, the ball in the middle, right. In any event, you've got these decorations at the top. Okay, and that is how they did it. Now. Ugviin lemahin domin. What were the cups look like? How did the cups look like? So, Kimin Kosos Alexandrius. They would look like Alexandrian which is Egyptian type of cups, which were long and narrow. They're like flutes, right? That's what they were like, long and narrow. I'm not sure how long and narrow, whatever. They were supposed to be long and narrow. And kaftorim, the balls, l'mahin domin, what were they like? Kimin tapuche ha kresim. They are like rounded, the kresim tapuchim. Now a tapuach is commonly translated as an apple. And not quite sure whether that's correct. There are other Gemaras that talk about whether a tapuach is a type of citrus fruit. So not entirely, but anyway, it's a round type of fruit. The Rambam says it was slightly elongated, sort of like an egg shape. So, however that is, but it's rounded, right? And then the prochim, l'mahin double, were the flowers like kimin pirchei hamudin. They were like the like you would have those flower decorations that you would have on pillars. Right? If you think of the Roman columns, right, and they would put those floral decorations and things on top where they would curve over. That's what the floral decorations looked like, right? And that makes sense to this picture, right? So some of this is artist conception, right, and some of it is I mean the height is accurate, what was there, but to figure out, let's say for example, they put all these little dots on the cups and things. That's not in the Gemara, but make it look nice.
Right.
Okay. I don't know that it was bad. V'nimtzu gvin eser mishnayim. The total number of cups, 22 cups. Kaftorim. The balls is echadas are 11 balls. Prochim tisha 9 flowers. Gvin makvin zazeh. You need all of the cups. If you're missing any of the cups, it's like you don't have any of the cups. Kaftorim makvin zazeh. The balls are required, right? If you don't have one of them, you're missing all of them. It's like they don't exist. And prochim makvin zazeh, and the flowers are required. Gvim kaftorim uprochim makvin zazeh. And if you're missing one of any of them, then it ruins the whole menorah, and everything's not there. So therefore, it's like you don't have any of the flowers or cups, so you got to have all of them. Now, bishlama givim eser mishnayim. I understand how you're counting 22 cups, because it says uba menorah arba'a gvim. Right? The menorah itself has 4 cups. How so? 3 on the top. This is the middle branch. 3 on the top and 1 was down there. So you've got 4 cups. Okay? And then, uksiv, then the pasuk says on the branches, you had 3 cups that were on each branch, and then you had a ball, and then you had a flower. So that means on each branch you had 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 plus 4. You're at 22. So that's not bad. Okay, so that's good. Now, Arba Dida, the 4 that was on the middle branch, the Timnei Srei Dekanim plus the 18 that are on the 6 branches, Ha Esrin Vitartin, that gets you 22. Kaftarin Nami, I'm also fine with the calculation of the balls because Achadasar Kaftarin, there's 11 balls because Trei Dida, there are 2 balls on the center, 1 at the top and 1 we said on the bottom. Right, so those are 2, and then Vishisha Dekanim. You're going to add 6 more that were on each of the branches at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then Vikaftor, and then you have 3 balls here. 1, 2, 3 that are holding the branches. Right, 3 more branches. So you've got a total of 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So you're good there. That math works out also. However, that's hachadzar. Ela prachim tisha minon. Where are you counting 9 flowers? Because prachim trei dida, right? First of all, the middle, this thing has flower up the top, flower down at the bottom. So that's 2, okay? And then shisha dekanim, you've got a flower at each of the tops of each of these ones. So that's 6 plus 2, that's only 8. So where are you getting 9? So the shisha dekanim, so that's timna yahavu, that only is 8. So Amar Rav Shalman explains, Ksiv ad yirecha ad pircha mikshahi. At the end it says that from its legs until its flowers, it was beaten. Now you would think from the legs to the flowers mean from the legs to the flowers. But it means the legs together with the little flower that was also there on the base. So here's this last little flower, that's flower number 9. And so that is what is there. Okay, so that is all of our decorations. And we know our menorah very well. How tall was the menorah? 18 tefachim. How tall was 18 tefachim? About 4.5 to 6 feet, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? So 4 and a half, maybe closer to 4 and a half, because you say like 10 tefachim is usually like this high, right? So you're like 2.5 feet, right? I don't know, whatever, meters, whatever inches. Amar Rav says, Gova shel menorah tisha tefachim. The height of the menorah is 9 tefachim. So that's different opinion.
Yeah.
So Eisves, they ask a question against the Rav Shimi bar Chia l'Rav. Rav Shimi bar Chia asks Rav a question. Evan haisa lifnei menorah. One of the things that we learned in Menachos Tamid is they put a little stool in front of the menorah. Do we have a picture of that? Hang on, let's see if we turn the page. If they have a picture of them setting up the menorah. No, not so much.
No.
Okay. So inside, that's what this is for. I can draw any picture I like. Just little arts. Okay.
Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board, okay? So we have a menorah, and our menorah is going to look like this. In front of the menorah, they put a little step stool. Can't use steps on the Mizbeach, but that's the only place you can't use steps. You have a ramp on Mizbeach, right? But you could use a little step stool. They put the step stool in front of the menorah. That's what it says in Menachos Tamid. So he says, Evan haisel lifnei menorah uba shalosh malos. It had 3 steps on it. Shalach kohen omen umeitivas aneros. The kohen would stand on the steps in order to clean out the candles.
So, but couldn't you go up the stairs to light it?
He could not. Wow, great question,
How do
Yehuda.
you light
Hang on to the question about lighting. That's a good question. Good point. We'll make a diuk in a second. We'll make a precise declaration here. So now, how tall is 9 tefachim? That's about a 2 foot to 4 foot menorah. Why do you need stairs? If your menorah is this tall, why do you need to go up the stairs?
Short. You can't reach that.
The coin isn't that short. Amar Le, he says to him, Shimiat. He says, you are a very bright person, right? That is to ask me that great question. It's a good point. Ki kamina misvas kanem ulamala. He says, when I said 9 tefachim, I meant from the first branch to the top. That's it. Which is exactly what we said. So it matches. So that's good. Now, Yehuda says, did they go up to light it? It doesn't say that. It says meitives aneros. Why is that important? Remember, we said that the Kohen is not allowed to stand on top of anything to do service. Right? Can't stand on another Kohen's feet, can't stand on rock, right? Can't stand on anything. So therefore, how's he allowed to stand on these steps in order to be able to clean out the menorah? So Mefarshim discussed this issue, and one potential answer is cleaning out the menorah is a preparatory service, not an actual service. The UL said you had to be able to get down to look inside the menorah to get it all out and clean. Right. But potentially, you're right, potentially when they lit it, they didn't stand on the steps.
How did they light it then?
You just, it doesn't, 5.5 feet tall, right? 5 feet tall, you can hold your menorah, you can light the menorah.
As long as not put up like
Right.
Pinocchio's length when
So, but cleaning it out and setting it up, that you had to be up tall, and that could have been okay to stand on the step stool. Okay, Ksiv. Okay, continue on about making the menorah. Ksiv, the pasuk says, Shlomo, all of the utensils of Hashem, he made the menorahs and their candles. V'haperach v'haneros, he made the flowers and the candelabras. V'malkachayim was the tongues out of zahav or out of gold. Hu michlos zahav. Michlos means kala, means to end. It ended the gold. So what does that mean? My michlos zahav. What it means? It's the ended of the gold. Amar Rav Ami says shekilato lekol zahav. Sagur, Shel Shlomo. He says it finished up all of the Sagur gold. Shlomo used up all of his gold. Finished. Wow. It was a lot of stuff. Now, the Amar Rav Yehuda explains Amar Rav, Eser menorah sasa Shlomo. Shlomo didn't just make one menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. He made 10. Now he probably didn't. I don't know. He doesn't have to light all 10, right? But he had 10 menorahs. It was for extra decoration in the Beis Hamikdash. He put 10 menorahs. V'kol achas v'achas, to make each one hevi la elef kikar zahav. He brought 1,000 kikar zahav. Now, how we said how much did each one have to weigh? 1 kikar. He brought 1,000 kikars of gold. Ve'echnisuhu elef palmim lakor. He threw it into the what do you forge? Kiln. That's what you do. That's wherever you build gold down. Right. He threw it in there 1,000 times, ve'emidu al kikar, and burned out all of the blemishes of the gold, reducing the gold to very fine quality. And of the original 1,000 kikars of gold, he wound up with 1 kikar of pure, really super high quality gold. Okay, so now
To liquidize it, it had to be very, very, very hot.
1,000 degrees Celsius. If I'm not, no. Fahrenheit? 1,000 degrees, either Fahrenheit or Celsius, makes a difference. I'm going to say 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit just for the. I think I saw that on the Temple Institute website when they were melting their gold.
Which is probably hotter than lava.
Which I don't know if that's hotter than lava. I would not be able to tell you. Then you'd have to Google.
Not that he doesn't.
Is this talking? It sounds like it's talking about an excess that.
Yes,
Shlomo went
Shlomo went way beyond. Right, there's a Shlomo. So he was excessive. Yeah.
So when we say that the menorah had to be of pure gold,
Yes, probably regular gold might have been sufficient. Regular metal would have been sufficient, but regular gold would have been made out of gold, right?
as we were mentioning yesterday by the
Wow, that's crazy.
That's correct. That gold.
That's crazy.
The pure gold could not hold up. So I wonder,
Correct. Yeah, maybe his gold is good. Maybe that's why. Maybe his gold was stronger. question.
Lavas generally ranging between 700 to 1,200 Celsius.
So there you go. So maybe it is 1,000 Celsius is the gold. So okay. Anyway, it's very hot. And now, Ini, is that true? Really, that Shlomo ran out of gold? The Aksiv Pasuk says, "V'chol klei mashkei hamelech Shlomo zahav." All of the utensils, the beaten utensils that Shlomo Melech used to use, were made out of gold. V'chol klei beis yar halavanon zahav sagur. And all of the utensils of the I guess the Beis Yair is the forest house, which maybe is one of his palace that was made out of cedars that came from Lebanon, the forests of Lebanon. Sagur ein kosef, they were closed. We'll see what closed means. There was no silver at all. Nechshav b'mei Shlomo lime'uma. So silver, right, was considered to be valueless.
Yeah.
Nobody wants silver. Everybody's got gold. So that is how much? So what do you mean he used up all of his gold? It says that he had he had extra gold. So the answer is Zahav Sagur Karmina. We're talking about the Sagur type of gold, special type of gold that we say that when other gold is around Sagur gold, everybody just closes up shop. Because that's what it's called, Sagur, closed up. Everybody just closed up the shop because the Sagur gold is apparently of the highest quality. So he had the highest quality gold, so he used up all of his Sagur gold, the extra high quality gold, in order to make that. Okay, now, Umi Chaser Kuli Hai. Now, problem is, let's think about this. 900 of a regular piece of gold, 999 parts of it are impurity. Is that really true? The Hatanya, we learned in a Brisa that Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yehuda says, "Ma'isa haisa v'haisa menorahs beis hamikdash yasera al shel Moshe bedinar zahav kur de yakeni." I guess they were measuring and checking, doing quality control on their utensils, and they found that the Beis Hamikdash's menorah was a little bit heavier, right, from the menorah that Moshe Rabbeinu had by a little drop, right, and could be after a while it started to I don't know if gold doesn't really oxidize or tarnish, but I guess they had some buildups on it or something like that. So what did they do? They took the gold, they put it into the kiln 80 times, al kikar, and then they wound up reducing it back down to a kikar of gold. So now to get from just a little bit over a kikar down to a kikar took 80 times. So but Shlomo had to get from 1,000 down to 1. That means he's knocking off 1 every time. So that sounds wrong. So Kavan de koi koi. The answer is no. Shlomo is using raw gold and getting down to the pure gold. So he was reducing it. But once the gold that they had in the menorah was already pre-reduced. So to get the last little bit off required more, right? So basically, it's not a linear thing. It's probably one of these asymptotes, right? This is your graph, right? Right. The more times you do it, the less is going to come out, right? The first time you do it, this much comes out, right? The second time you do it, this much comes out. The third time, then each time it gets less and less and less.
It's like it's a half Indiana Jones, half Tomb Raider situation.
If you say. If you say. Amar Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Yonasan. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani says in Rabbi Yonasan, my dichsiv. What does it mean when the pasuk says al menorah tehora? That the menorah was on called the holy, the pure menorah. Why is it called the pure menorah? So it says sheyardu maseh mimokum tahara. How to make it came from a pure place, from Shemayim, right? Moshe Rabbeinu needed to be shown how to make the menorah, and Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu this is how you make the menorah. So el me'ata, if that's true, if Moshe Rabbeinu had to be told how to make the menorah precisely, so then al shulchan hatahor, the shulchan is also called the pure one. So sheyardu maseh mimokum tahara. That means also the blueprints for the shulchan came from Shemayim also. Ella, so rather tahor miklal shehu tameh. What we mean is that the word there means tahor means that it can become impure. So what hakanami tahora miklal shehi tameah. So that means so we should say by the menorah also, right? The menorah, the rule is that it can become. It's called tahor because it can be made into something that is tameh. That's what it says. Now the problem is why is that important to like? I mean, it's a metal utensil, doesn't it? Isn't it obvious it can become tameh if it touches something tameh? So I understand why the Shulchan, the Torah has to tell me that. It's a special rule by the Shulchan. Why? Because Damar Reish Lakish says, "My dichsiv al Shulchan Torah." Why does it have to say the Shulchan is Torah? Michal shehu tameh, because it could become tameh. Kli eitz he'osoi lenachasu. We have a problem because the Shulchan is a wooden utensil which is affixed to the ground, does not usually move. Not affixed, but it doesn't usually move. The rule by wood is that if it's stationary, if it's a heavy enough piece of wood, that you're not supposed to move it, so then it becomes considered to be part of the ground, and anything that's part of the ground, we learned in Maseches Avodah Zarah, doesn't become tameh, right? The rocks and those things, it can't make those things tameh. Can't accept tuma. So therefore the shulchan, which was made out of wood and then covered with gold, shouldn't be able to become tameh.
If you worship those things,
we said even if you worship something that is attached to the ground, it does not become worshipped, right? Can't worship the mountain. The answer is no. The shulchan got moved. It wasn't stationary. The shulchan got picked up and moved when the people would come during the Sholosh Regalim. What did they do? Umarim lahem lechem apanim. They would take the shulchan and they would show all the people the lechem apanim. They would take it. How did they work? They took it to the opening of the Beis Hamikdash, and everybody could see. Now, how do you take it to the opening of the Beis Hamikdash? It's actually kind of a little bit like if you read the different Rishonim exactly where they took it to. According to some, they could have taken it all the way out to where the people were. Like
I think those things have poles, right? So
it did have poles, right?
So to make it fit in, I think they had to take out the
They
poles.
could have picked, but the poles would help to hold it up, right?
Yeah.
Then, but if they took it, then you have to move it to the sides because the mizbeach could have been in the way, so you have to move it over to the side. In any event, they took the lechem upon him to the door, and they would show it to everybody. They would say to the people, see how much you are beloved before Hashem. Why is it you show the lechem upon him? That shows how much you're loved. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, like Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says, Nes Godol Nasa b'lechem upon him. There was a big miracle that happened by the lechem upon him. Shasilchu kisiduro. When you would take it off of the shulchan, it was as warm and as fresh as when it was put on. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, "Lasum lechem chom biyom hilakcho." Right, to put warm bread on the day that it was taken, meaning that the bread was as warm on the day it was taken off as when it was put on, and that is how beloved. Now, this is a question that I'm trying to remember whether I should take notes when I hear these things. So the bread was warm. Okay, so that's great. How does that show Bnei Yisrael that he loves them? Because he has warm bread. So I heard.
I think even after
Rabbi Rosner's Daf Yomi Shiur.
As the time we're supposed to cool down, it would stay warm for longer than that.
That's what had happened, right? It stayed warm all week. But nevertheless, why is that love, right? You have all kinds of miracles in the Beis Hamikdash. You have this pillar of smoke coming straight up. You have, but that one shows love. So the mun in the midbar, right, came down every day. Why did the man come down every day? Because, first of all, if you give it once every a year, right? They could Hashem just want to be able to stay. Well, then maybe it wouldn't stay fresh. Well, what do you mean it wouldn't stay fresh? Hashem could keep man fresh if he wants to. What's the big deal? The answer is no. Hashem wants to give it to you every day, because if you come every day, then you have to dive into Hashem, and you have to throw your trust and your faith in Hashem. So Hashem loves us. Therefore, He gave us man every day, so that we would have it.
If you see some man left over and you picked it up, it's not going to be fresh. It won't taste fresh anymore.
So the question is, so therefore, the reason why we got man every day is because Hashem loved us. So, in the Beis Hamikdash, they took the lechem upon him, and it was hot after a week. They would show everybody, Bnei Yisrael, look, the lechem upon him is still hot. Hashem in the desert could have made the man hot too. Look how He's making the bread hot here. So why didn't He make the bread hot? Because He loves you so much and wanted to give you the man every single day. So that shows how much Hashem loves, by showing that He didn't just use the miracle of keeping it hot, but instead gave us the man every single day. So that's how it shows love. I wish I remember who it was, but I heard it from Rabbi Rosner, who said it in the name of somebody else. I don't remember. Okay, so now.
Well, I've heard a certain chef online who I get some recipes from. He talks about, you want to show people you love them, you serve the food on a hot plate.
There you go, hot plates.
A warm.
So there you go, warm plate. So that's another answer.
Warm plate.
There you go. Okay. Ela hacha. So now the issue though is the only reason why we needed to mention that the shulchan can become tameh is because I would have thought otherwise, because it's a wooden utensil, and if it weren't for the fact that we moved it every time 3 times a year, it would be stationary and it would become tameh. But the menorah is a metal utensil, of course it's going to become tameh. Ela hacha tahora mikal shi tmeya pshita. Obviously the menorah is able to become tameh. So why does it have to be called the menorah tahora? So kli matachos ninu, it's a metal utensil. Kli matachos mekabel tumah. Of course, a metal utensil can accept tumah. It's not a wooden utensil like the shulchan. So ella sheyardu ma'aseh mimakom tahora. That is because by the menorah, it's because Hashem showed Moshe from Shemayim, right? Give him a fire picture of the menorah. So therefore, 2 different reasons why it's called the Torah. The shulchan is called the tahora because it would have been thought otherwise, and then the menorah is called Torah because it came from Shemayim. Tanya, we learned in a brayso. Rabbi Yossi says, Aron shel eish v'shulchan v'shel eish. Aron shel eish v'shulchan shel eish u'menorah shel eish yardu min Shemayim. A aron that was made out of fire, a shulchan that was made out of fire, and a menorah made out of fire came down from Shemayim. Ve'ra'a Moshe, and Moshe saw them. Ve'asa kamosa, and he copied them. That's how he knew what they were supposed to do. Shenamar, as the pasuk says.
I thought you said you can't copy whatever Hashem makes. And why was
no, we said you cannot copy the kelim of the Mishkan. We said, right? He's making the kelim of the Mishkan, right? So that you can make. Ure'eva aseh betavnisam asher atamar eba says. That's what Hashem says. You shall make them in the shape that you saw that I showed you, that I showed you on the mountain. Okay, now.
Which mountain? Har Sinai? Which mountain was it?
On Har Sinai, that's the one, right? Elameata. Now, if that's true, right? In the Mishkan it says Vakimosas a Mishkan kemishpato asher hareisa bahar. Also, it says by the Mishkan. Moshe is told you should build the Mishkan in the way that I showed you on the mountain. So Hachanami, you're going to say also that there's a fiery Mishkan that he showed him too. So Hachiksiv kimishpato hasam kshiv ksiv ketavni sam. The answer is no, not quite. Right? By the Mishkan, it says, Kimishpato, I told you all the rules on Har Sinai. Just do it like all the rules I told you. This is make them in the shape that I showed you. And that's why that shows the menorah was a shape, a fire that was given down in Har Sinai. This is during the giving of the Asar Sidros, right? He showed him everything up there when he was up there. Okay. Amr Rabbi Yochanan says, in the name of Yochanan, Gavriel Chogor Kemin Psikya. Here's how it was done. Gavriel is Malach. He's very much involved in fiery furnaces and things, right? Daniel, he meets Daniel in the fiery furnace, so it makes sense he'd be involved in the fire. Yes, as well, and Gavriel saved him from that one too, right? Gavriel is involved with all these fires. So, and Gavriel is standing there. He's wearing a blacksmith apron. Right, he's wearing an apron, and the herald of Moshe, Ma'asim Minori, showed Moshe Rabbeinu. This is how it's supposed to look, made out of fire. Tichsiv v'zeh ma'aseh menorah, as it says, and this is the way that the menorah shall be made. And when he says zeh, that means this. He had to actually show him. Tana Rishmal, learn Yeshiva Rishmal. Shosha Devarim Hayu Kashan Lil Moshe. There are three things Moshe Rabbeinu found difficult to make. Until Hashem showed him a picture of one and pointed to it. Ve'eluain, here are the three things Moshe Rabbeinu. Menorah, as we just said. Ve'rosh Chodesh, right? He didn't know exactly the new moon. And so Hashem showed him, he said, look, that's the moon, right? I'll show you, this is what it looks like, okay? And Shrotzim, creepy crawlies. Other kosher things, Hashem could give him signs. This sign, this it looks like this, like that, right? Shrotzim, I don't know which one is Tahor, this type of sherets, just the names of them. So he showed him this sherets, this sherets. Locusts are not shrotzim, no. So menorah dichsev, the pasuk by the menorah, it says v'zeh maseh menorah. This is the menorah. Rosh chodesh dichsev hachodesh hazeh lachem. It says zeh again there over there. Rosh chodeshim and shrotzim dichsev v'zeh lachem atame. This is to you the tamei. Okay. V'yesh omrim af hilchos shchita. He also showed him the halachos of how to do shchita. Shenemar, because over there it says v'zeh asher tasel mizbeach. This is how you shall do it on the mizbeach. So anytime it says zeh, Hashem showed him how to do it. Hands-on learning, right?
So Betzalel, he was given the wisdom to build a Mishkan. But Moshe Rabbeinu...
It seems like Moshe Rabbeinu, so it seemed Betzalel did it. The question is whether Moshe knew what they were supposed to look like, and Betzalel knew how to do it. That seems like he was the one who was the expert craftsman. That's what it seems like to me. Right? Because Betzalel's name does not come in here.
No.
Right? He's not here. Okay, next thing. Done with the menorah. It was nice though. We don't.
That was
right?
fascinating.
Next, Shtei parshos mezuzah makos. Let's talk about mezuzahs for a little bit. Mezuzahs, two parshos of the mezuzah are required one to the other. So pshita. I mean, so it says, of course not, because it says uchsav tam mezuzah pesach. It has to be written ksiva tama, as we said. Ksiva tam is ksiva tama. It has to can't be missing any words, letters. Of course, it can't be missing the whole parsha. So Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Rav Yosef and Rav, Lo nitzracha ela lekutza shel yud, even to tell me that the end of the yud can't even have the leftover part of the yud. What's a yud look like? Yuds. Let's draw a nicer, brighter color.
Did you have crown on top of it?
Well, we're getting there. Hang on. Okay. A yud. Looks like so. Actually, yud, to be more precise, looks like so. Okay, so if you would take a look, right, at, you can see. You would find if you want to find a yud inside here, you'll be able to see the yuds, and that is the general look of the yud. So
here, right there.
Right.
Key.
Okay. Has these distinct features.
You see over here where the key is over there.
Right. Should put this, make this a little bit more prominent for the sake of our discussion here. Okay. Now, pshita, it's obvious. So Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav lo nitzracha el lekotza, the ed of the yud. The kotza is. That's the coats, the A. That's going to be our first example. The coats shel yud. So v'hanami pshita, huh? Yes, like the end. Yep. That's also hanami pshita. That's obvious. Also, bless you. If you cut off the end of the yud, so then that's not a yud, and if it's not a yud, so then it's not a mezuzah. So Ella lekeidach to Rav Yehuda Rav. It's like the other thing that Rav Yehuda says in Rav. Well, let's explain this according to three different explanations. Rashi says it's this thing here. That's Rashi's explanation. Then we have the explanation of the Rosh, right? He says that the Rosh is talking about this coats right here. This is the Rosh. B, possibility B. And then we have, who's the third one? No, that's the Rosh. Who was it? The Bays is.
They actually have a picture here.
That is the Rabbeinu Tam. That's his Rabbeinu Tam. And then this is the Rosh is up here. Right? This is possibility C. The edge of the Yud is missing. But still, pshita, if you're missing this part of the mezuzah, if you're missing that part of the letter, then it's not a complete letter, and of course it's no good. So the answer is Ella. So rather, lekeidach de Rav Yehuda Marav. We're talking about the other halacha, right? The other halacha. The point is the point, not this point that to tell us that it's not. This is not to tell us that it's if you're missing the edge of the yud, then it's not valid. It's to tell us Damar Rav Yehuda Marav Rav Yehuda Nesim Yud in the name of Rav. Kol o she'ein gevil mukaf lo me'arba ruchoseha. If you have a letter that is not surrounded on all four sides by parchment, psula, then it's possible. How would that happen? Well, I could have my letter, and right next to it, I draw my vav, and my vav is like this, but they're touching. If the yud and the vav touch, then that's not going to be kosher. You need to have parchment completely surrounding every letter. Yeah, you saw that on your mezuzah? Yeah. So that's this halacha. So that's what this is telling us, that it's not so pashut, right? It has to be everything that everything is that this rule is pasal mezuzah. Okay, Amar Ashyan bar Nadvach mishmei Rav Yehuda. Ashyan bar Nadvach said in the name of Rav Yehuda, Nikev tocho shel hay kosher. If the inside part of the hay has a hole in it, then it's kosher. Hay, long part here. Let's make right. It does have a little stick-up part there, and goes down here, and then we're gonna have the end over here, and then we have the upside down yud part here. Okay, that's a hay, right? So now in a hay, right? If I've got a hole in the middle of it, it could be kosher. So if somebody pokes a hole in the parchment in the middle of the hay, so then it's kosher.
How do you kosher?
Now, sorry, I take this back, right? Tocho, he says, is this first explanation is tocho. He says it is inside the left leg of the hay. Here. That's going to be still kosher, right? Sorry? Why? So, okay. So what makes it kosher? So this again, it is subject to machlokas again. That's why I did that way. Who is that opinion that I did is in the middle? That is that in the same way that we know that Rosh. This is the first is the Rosh who says it's on the side, and then who is it? So in second, the beginner. Perush Rashi. That's Rashi's Perush, and the Rosh agrees, and that it is could be the left leg, and then according to the second shot in Rashi, and Tocho could be the center area, could be over here in the middle also. Has all different explanations. Okay, Tocho shall because Rashi says Tocho regel shebifnim, and Yerecho is regel yemanis. Yerecho is its right leg. So if the hole, right? So if it's on the Tocho shel hay, if it's Tocho shel hay, if it's in the middle of this part of the hay, then it is kosher, and if it's on this part of the hay, it's pasul. On Yerecho, on its outside leg, so that is pasul. Hang on. Amar Reb Zera explains. I explained the reason for this according to Rav Huna. Reb Yaakov Amar L'didim Mefarshel Liminei Rav Yehuda. And Rav Yaakov said, I had it explained to me in the name of Rav Yehuda. Nikev tocho shel hay kosher. The inside part of the hay, right, the left side of the hay, is kosher. Why? As long as he says that it's kosher. He says as long as you have any little bit of it. Why? Because all that needs to be on this part of the hay is any amount, right? If this is where the line is, so I cut it off here, and this is still a bit of this, and the hay is still fine, right? However, on the other side, Yerecho, if it's on the other side, so im nishtayr bo kashir os ketana, so then if it has enough left to be the size of a yud, it's kosher. Ve'im lav, then it's possible, and if not, it is puzzle. Right, because I guess he's saying it. What is he saying here? Nasa nekev tocho is kosher, puzzle. To which Rabbi Zera, so they're disagreeing. Rabbi Zera is saying, Rav Huna said, and then Rav Yaakov said, no, I'm actually going even according to Rabbi Yehuda. He says that even if it's on this side, it's still kosher as long as you have enough that this is a small hay, as long as you still have enough for it to be a hay, right? Even if you would cut that off, it would still be kosher, potentially. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Okay, next. Igra Chamua de Rabbi Abba. Igra, who was Rabbi Abba's father-in-law, is if Sikole Kara Dehe. He had a circumstance in his tefillin that the leg of the hay got cut off deha'am, of the word ha'am, which is Vayomer Hashem El Ha'am, Zachoras Yom Hazeh, which is in Shmos Yud Gimel, Pasuk Gimel, which is in one of the parshas of tefillin. So now, B'nikva, it got cut off, the hay in there got cut off with a hole. Also, the Kamid Rav Abba, they went to Rabbi Abba. Marley said to him, Im mishtayir bo kshiros katana, as long as you have enough left to make a little hay, so then it's kosher, it's still kosher. V'im lav pasal, and if not, it's pasal. So, fine, he was able to kosher his tefillin that way. Rami bar Tamre, Dehu Chamua de Rami bar Dikule, everybody's father-in-law is here. Rami bar Tamre, who was the father-in-law of Rami bar Dikule, right? If Sikale Kara Devav, he had his vav got cut off. He had a little cut in the vav of Devah Yaharog in his tefillin, where it says the word Vayaharog, which is later on in that also in Parakid Gimel there. But nikva with a hole. Also the Kamid Rabbi Zera, he came before Rabbi Zera, Amar Le, Zil Aisi Yanuka. He says, well, how are we going to know whether this is kosher or not? He said, because a vav can be turned into a yud very easily. So he says, go get a child, right? Delochakim velo tipesh, who's neither very exceptionally smart, because if he's too smart, he'll know what part of the Torah he's reading from, and he'll know what it's supposed to be, and not one who's foolish, who doesn't know what he's talking about at all. Ikari le vayaharog kosher. So if he reads it as vayaharog, then it's kosher because he sees it's a vav. Elo, and if not, he's going to read it as yehareg with two yuds, so that it's pasul. So that's where we get this idea that you can ask a child, right? Some people think that means that you can ask a child anything. Not true. If you're asking a child if a letter is cut or broken or missing pieces, that a child can't. But what a child can help you with is if you've got a misshapen letter or a cut short letter, and you want to be able to determine whether this letter meets the standard, then you can ask a child, because he's just going to look and tell you what this letter is. That's when we have this, I don't know, it's always this thing like, oh no, the Torah is puzzle, let's get a kid. Like, what does a kid help you? And then I notice nobody ever does that. The answer is, it has been done. If you've got, let's say you've got a smudged letter or something like that, and you don't know whether it's kosher or not, you can rely on a child to come and tell you whether that letter is acceptable. Sorry? The problem is that you know too much, right? If you know too much, you're reading it, you know what word to expect. So then that's not going to be good. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Rav Yehuda says in Rav, B'shah she'ala Moshe l'marom, when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim, Matzola Kadosh Baruch Hu sheyoshev v'kosher kasarim la'osios. He saw Hashem was up there in Shemayim, and he was putting crowns on the tops of the letters. Okay? Like we have in the Torah. Like, for example, the letter Zion, let's write it properly. Right, here's our letter Zion. On the top, 3 crowns on the top. So, right, if you take a look, it's really there. Right? So now, Amar Lefan of Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, Ribono shel olam, mi ma'akiv al yadcha? Who's forcing you to write all these crowns? Seems like a waste of time. Amar lo. So Hashem says, Odam echad yish she'osid lios besof kamadoros. There's a person who will be after many generations. V'Akiva ben Yosef Shmo, his name is Akiva ben Yosef, and that's Rabbi Akiva. She'also lidrosh al kol coats v'coats. He's going to give an explanation for every one of those crowns. And Tilin Shalachos is going to make mounds and mounds of halachos. Amar Lefanov, so Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, Ribbono Shalom, Hareuli, I want to see that. So Amar Lo, Chazor Lacharecha, so Hashem says, turn around. There it is, behind him. He's standing there, now he's in Rabbi Akiva's room, right? Halach v'yoshe b'sof shmona shuros. Moshe Rabbeinu came, he sat down in the back of the room. The end of the eighth bench in the back of the room. He had no idea what was going on in the shir. Couldn't understand the shir. Moshe Rabbeinu. Tashash kocho. He got all concerned and upset. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu, we'll say in a moment, right? Kevan she'agia l'davar echad. They got to one part where in the shir. Amru lo Talmidav, his student said to Rabbi Akiva, Rebbe, minayin lecha, where do you know that from? Amar len, he said, halach l'Moshe miSinai. That Salach Moshe miSinai. This Yashva Dato, Moshe Rabbeinu was happy again. Then they still remember him, right? Yeah. Now, what's going on there? They're giving a shir. Rabbi Akiva was Dorish everything from Sukkim. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't Dorish Sukkim. Moshe Rabbeinu heard it directly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu not used to hearing a drush like this. Learn everything from this letter, from that word. A hekesh, a kal v'chomer. No, Hashem told me. That's how I know, right? That's how Moshe Rabbeinu learned. However, he says, Moshe Rabbeinu says, that means I missed out on Torah, right? No, halach at the end, halach l'Moshe miSinai. He says, okay, that's still the way, right? Whatever comes from Moshe Rabbeinu, that's the halacha, right? So that is, they're still being dorish the Torah that I gave. So that is where he was. Chazar ubo lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Moshe Rabbeinu comes back before Hashem. And he says, Amar Lefanu, he says to him, Ribbono Shalom, yesh lecha adam kazev, ata nosin Torah al yadi. He says, Hashem, you've got a guy like that, and you're giving the Torah through me? I'm second class. Amar Lo, Hashem says, Shtok, be quiet. Kach olah b'machshava lefanai. This is the way I want to do it. This is the way I want to do it. Right? That Moshe Rabbeinu gives Torah shebichsav, Rabbi Akiva gives Torah shebal-peh. Right? Amar lefanov. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Ribbono Shalom, harisani Torah so. So he says, let me see his Torah. Hareini scharo. Fine, you showed me his Torah. I want to see his reward. This guy must get like amazing stuff happen to him at the end, right? Amar Lo, Chazor Lacharecha. Hashem says, okay, turn around, let's take a look. Chazor Lacharov, he turns around, Ve'ra'a sheshoklin b'saro b'makolin, that Rabbi Akiva is being murdered by the Romans. He's getting his flesh peeled by combs. Amar Lefanav, Ribbono Shalom, he says, Master of the universe, Zu Torah, Zu Schara. This is what happens when you learn Torah like this. This is the reward you get. Amar Lo, Hashem says, Shtok, be quiet. Kach Allah b'machshav lefanai. Don't try to understand the ways of Hashem. That's the way it comes before me. Amar Rava.
Don't question my decision.
That's correct. Don't question Hashem's decisions. Amar Rava. Rava says, Shiva osios tzrichos shlosha ziyunin. There are 7 letters that get these crowns. Okay, which ones are they? Ve'eluhain. Shatniz Gats. They're Shatniz Gats. They get 3 letters. The Mishnah Brura quotes Sefer Igeris, I think it is, which is, I don't know that. That says that Shatniz Gats. The word Shatniz comes from Satan Oz. Satan Oz, those are the names of demons. Satan, we know, and the Oz, A's, right? Oz or brazenness, and Gats. That these letters require the arrows from the letters to shoot up and be corresponding to prevent from the forces of these demons. I don't know, but it's in the Mishnah Brura. So when the Mishnah Brura starts giving you like the shapes of the letters and stuff, it's worth quoting. So anyway, you got to put these crowns on. Now, where do you put the crowns? Right? Machlokas again. Right? You put the crowns. Could be 1, 2, 3. Right? Could be you put them straight up. 1, 2, 3. Right? What is it in the? How does it go in here? It looks like Hazeh. Yom Hazeh. He puts them right in the middle, right? Just puts them, just like I had them before, right? 1, 2, 3, right? A little bit of a, right? That's how that's supposed to look, and that's on all the letters of the Shatniz Gats the minhag is to put it on the left side, right? Some places, let's say for example, if you've got a shin, right? So you've got your shin, right? You've got 3 different sections, right? And where do you put them? So you don't put them on all 3. We are the custom to put them over here, right? Now, I remember seeing them someplace that to make them extra fancy, you could put them on all of them, but the minhag is just put them on the left side.
You know the Bakura's handbook. Everything will show you. It'll show you everything in there.
Yeah, and it's right there. That's where.
That's the Bakura.
No, it's not the Bakura. But a tikkun will have it. You can take a look at the shin, and it's right there. That's why I brought it. Okay.
I missed that part. Sorry.
Amar Rav Ashi says, "Chazinu l'sofrei davkane debeirav dechatru legogis deches." I saw sofrim, and it doesn't sound like. It sounds like it's not critical, but he says I saw that there are sofrim that they're putting a some kind of a crown, a stick upwards on the ches, right? And Rashi draws it like this, right? His ches looks like this. And this is the one leg. This is the other leg, and he says right there. That's your upper portion of your ches. That's how Rashi draws it. You see it is in the Rashi on the left side there. That's our little ches.
It's a very visually striking page.
Yes, there's tons of stuff with the Zions and the cheses, right? But Tosfos says, right? He says no. This is not where it is. What you do is you have this broken in half.
That'll be puzzle.
Nope. And then you put that right in there in between. Okay. Now, this looks like.
It looks like he also has the crown here.
Yes. Right. He looks like he still puts. Well, no. Take a look at the Tosfos. Right. He's got in this diagram here.
Oh, here they.
Oh, here he puts it. In this one they don't. In the Tikkun. There. He does put one on there. He does put a little. Maybe because we're Yotze both opinions, right? Yeah. Rashi and Tosfos, if we put them on both places, right? So they've got them. Now this is so the ones that we have, right? So our chesses. Now, is it 2 Zions? Is it a Vav and a Zion? It depends on whether you're writing Beis Yosef style, Rizal's style. So different ways of doing a ches. So that's one of the letters that you could look at to know whether you're looking at a Sefer Torah that's written Arizal style or Beis Yosef style. The standard Ashkenaz style is Zion.
That's the one that can have them standing up, right?
No, because that's still Sephardi writing, which is a different style also, right? So there are little differences in each one. So each of the different styles of each sofer is a little bit different. Okay, fine. So they have the little bump in the ches, and they also made sure that the hay has a dangly letter, and it's not supposed to attach. Right, your letter hay is not supposed to attach to the upper part. So that is a place that we can stop. Okay. And we will pick up and talk about. Yeah, we're going to talk about why we put this little roof on the top of the ches, and then we're going to get into yuds and hays and a couple of other things.
Korea, right?
No, we are chatri lehu legagid ches. Right, that's where we are. Okay. Perfect.